Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. If you thought about podcasting before and realized that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. With Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool will give up a chance for a 30% discount.
Hey Ashley,
Hey man, what's going on?
I have created something truly extraordinary.
Oh shit, for real? What's that?
It's called a podcast.
Vern, that has already been invented.
Yeah, but our show, Cinema Recall, we're gonna talk about movies.
Oh, okay.
You know, like box office blockbusters,
Yeah,
foreign independent films,
gotcha.
musicals and animation,
Yeah, lots of people do that.
S-rated adult flicks.
Ew, Vern, no. What makes Cinema Recall different from the rest?
Well, we will be offering great content with a wide variety of guests on both our podcast platforms and YouTube as well.
Variety. Like, it covers many different genres of film?
Exactly. We want to be the show for fans of cult features like Howard the Duck, to be friends with fans of big blockbusters like Spider-Man No Way Home.
I still feel like so many other shows do that format.
Yeah, but I have two very attractive and good-looking hosts.
Vern, it won't matter if they're listening.
Maybe they'll enjoy the banter we have with each other and special guests. We can even make a show that includes all lovers of cinema.
From art house gems?
And raunchy comedies.
I like it. A show that celebrates all forms of entertainment.
Cinema Recall is available everywhere you find great podcasts.
The hell was that?
It's our voice promo guy.
Follow them on Facebook and Instagram under Cinema Recall Podcast and on Twitter at Cinema_Recall.
Vern, can we afford to have a voiceover guy?
We can't afford not to. He used to be a voice guy for movie trailers, but now he just follows me around and gives me movie trailer narration.
That's really sad.
What? Now we're giving him purpose in life. He now has a reason to go on.
Check out past episodes at cinemarecall.net. Promise it's fun!
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Victor Crowley. Folks weren't too kind to Victor, so he stayed hidden in his daddy's house, out in the bayou. One night, some mean children came to his house, and there was a bad fire. When his daddy chopped down the door to save him, he didn't know Victor was pressed against the other side.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hey!
This week, we're discussing the horror classic, Hatchet, starring ever so briefly Robert Englund and Tony Todd and others. Each week.
Why could they only afford a half an hour of the actual actor's time? Is that the problem?
You know, Tony Todd was on set. Wasn't really even a set. They probably just bumped into him in New Orleans.
They're like, bro, what's up? I'm like, how about so underutilized?
Yeah, totally.
Dude, why wasn't he the dude driving the boat?
I agree. I can't answer these questions. We may never know the answer.
Oh my God.
Very upsetting. Each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genre with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's up with you?
Dude, I am watching 90 Day Fiance because
Of
you
course.
just texted me 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
and Angela and Michael are on it, but we already know what happened. That the police were involved and they are separated. We've known this for months, so it's super awkward watching them together.
I don't know who
Fascinating.
Angelo and Michelle are, but I'll take your word for it.
Angela is this crazy woman from Georgia who I swear is popping her dentures. She looks like she's Hagatha Brickrock, but the reality is she's 2 years younger than me, but looks 20 years older than me.
We'll be the judge of that.
I
Aaron.
keep texting our sister-in-law, and I go, she's 2 years younger than me. And she is clearly has false teeth, upper and lower.
I mean, make no mistake. I am
She
older.
married a dude from Nigeria, and
That's the way it always is.
It's
Yeah.
been 5 years she's trying to bring him over.
Yeah, good luck with that. I am older than Wilford Brimley was in Cocoon.
As long as you're not older than Wilford Brimley right now.
Right now. Absolutely. And the diabetes. Diabetes.
The diabetes. Exactly.
Ugh.
But, exciting times at 90 Day Fiance because there's no more sister wives, at least for a little while.
God, the
What will
shows
fill
you
the
watch.
What will fill the void? What will fill the void?
It's a horror show. Truly a horror show.
Aye, aye, aye.
Now, as I was doing for a while there, I was sending out polls, as you know, to ask.
Yes, I've been
What
responding.
movies?
I'm like, I don't want to watch any of these effing movies.
That's not what you're supposed to tell people. Damn it, all to hell. But one of the movies that won was Hatchet. Now, you and I talked about this. I only stumbled across the Hatchet line of films because I was teaching sixth grade, and the book that we read towards the end of the year is the Gary Paulson novel, Hatchet.
Yeah.
So,
this is very different than that. I mean,
yes.
I haven't read it. I'm familiar with it, but one can only assume it is different than this.
Yes, one could only assume. But I was like flipping through YouTube, like wanting to show like a clip because I think they did make a made-for-TV movie version of Gary Paulson's Hatchet, which is a young adult novel. A kid is lost in the woods and has to learn, I don't know, self-reliance or some shit. And then it was like the first thing that popped up was the horror movie Hatchet, which I was thoroughly unaware of. But I was watching Joe Bob, I think it was last year, and they showed the fourth installment of the Hatcher series, or the Hatchet series, or the Hatcher series. I've heard it both ways.
We wish we were watching the Hatcher series.
That's 100%. Which is just called Victor Crowley for some reason. They don't call it Hatchet 4.
Not Alistair? What about his father, Alistair?
Not Alistair. Who's to say? So, I just knew it was, at that point, I just knew it was a swamp man, evil swamp man.
Not to be confused with the Swamp Thing.
Correct. 100%. But you hadn't even heard of this movie, is that correct?
I had so not heard of this, and it is so not on my radar. It is so not. But the best thing I can say about it,
Yes,
is it is less offensive than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
that is true. 100%. Well,
That could be the finest thing I say about it tonight.
I will say this. Having watched Victor Crowley, I got the sense that it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. Like it's meant to be kind of campy.
Correct.
Right? Which is, I guess that's what Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was trying to be as well.
And again, not successful. As with Hatchet, not successful.
Oh, what are you talking about? Look, I will say this. I'd never seen this movie before, but it was on my radar. I was like, I should check this out. Just
Did
based
you buy
upon
it?
Did not buy it. It was
Are you
free.
going to buy it now?
No, I will not. But before I started watching it, I think I was flipping through on IMDb, like the trivia. And one of the trivias says, if you watch the first, second, and third movie back to back, like it's basically, that is one story, which I discovered to my horror watching this, not to jump all the way to the end.
It is also a penance in the Catholic Church for adultery and possibly murder too.
Hatchet?
Watching all three back to back.
That is true.
Like you go to confession, Father, forgive me, I have sinned. I slept with the neighbor repeatedly. I locked my children in the garage because they were annoying, and I cheated on my taxes. Okay, my son, say 3 Hail Marys and watch the first 3 Hatchets back to back.
Please do.
And all will be forgiven.
100%. Now, why don't you give us your 30-second synopsis of Hatchet, not Gary Paulson?
Well, good, because I actually never read that book, so that would be very difficult. I'm assuming it's about a young boy with an axe
in the swamp. 100%.
I assume it's more of a Nell if she had an axe.
It is a prequel to this movie.
It's a prequel to Nell. Nell is the prequel to Hatchet.
100%.
Oh, it's people in New Orleans wanted to go on a haunted swamp tour, which honestly sounds like it would be kind of fun.
Yes.
But everyone knows that there's an axe murderer that lives in the swamp, so much so that they closed the swamp, but boat operators are a shifty crowd, so they're still up to make a buck. And drive their boat straight to the axe murderer's house. Like, the sheriff knows this is the house. Everybody knows this is the house. We've closed the swamp, but we don't go arrest Hatchet Man? What is that? Chaos ensues. Choppy. I really don't even remember what happened at the end. But I do know they left the black man to die after he went and saved everybody.
I noticed that as well. That's always an upsetting choice.
I was like, what?
That's always that's a rough choice. I think, and this is a question I had as well, I think it's supposed to be he's like kind of a ghostly character. Like he's no longer alive.
They shot him and he bled.
They shot him in the heart, but he got right back up. Right? They hit him in the head with one of those what are those things called? Those tool, like not farming, a gardening implement. One of those little claw trowel things. I don't know what those things are called. They hit him in the head with that. He was still kicking. They lit him on fire for a little while.
That's because he's got the elephant man's head. There's nothing but 4 foot thick. That's not his vulnerable stuff. Why don't they put him in the chipper shredder like Evil Dead Rises?
Well, I would say they don't have power out in the swamp. However, at one point, Victor Crowley pulls out a belt sander and uses it on somebody. He's in the swamp. There's no power. Does he have a generator? I guess that's possible. Who's to say? No one knows.
So he's doing home improvement?
He is. So it's flipping or flopping.
He's not doing a good job.
No.
I'm not sure what element he has, but he's way too tall to be John Hurt. He's got
David Merrick, is that his name?
John Merrick.
It's John Merrick.
John Merrick. Don't you remember Michael Jackson tried to buy his bones?
Yes. Yeah, I think he succeeded, didn't he?
I don't know.
Didn't he have the bones in there with Bubba? Bubbles or whatever.
Bubbles
the chimp.
Poor John Merrick. I caramba. Yeah, I hate the stuff where it doesn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense, and yikes.
Well, they definitely wanted to make kind of a Friday the 13th Halloween kind of movie, is what they were going for.
And by Halloween kind of movie, it's the kind of movie where the villain gets killed and jumps right back up.
Well,
that's the only connection to Halloween that I can see.
Well, but the thing is, if you watch those Halloween movies, he doesn't like get shot and then immediately jump up. Remember, he doesn't really.
You turn your head for a minute and then he's gone.
And then he's gone. He's not just jumping up, coming at you for a second slice. But that's clearly what they're going for. And I believe, unless I'm crazy, this was kind of a low budget independent film, if I'm remembering this correctly.
Oh, this looks so low budget. It looked college level.
Right.
Kind of a tick below Full Moon Entertainment.
A couple ticks. below full moon, no question. Well, and I think it's like by virtue of that, they were able to get, Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger, as we all know,
For 15 minutes.
for 15 minutes for the opening scene to kind of
Tony
set the
Todd
table.
for 15 minutes.
Tony, I mean, at least Robert Englund is like the inciting incident, right? That kind of sets up the rest of the thing. Tony Todd serves absolutely no purpose.
No.
Absolutely no. Like they try to go to a swamp tour and knock on his door. He comes out and gives them a song and dance quite well, actually. I thought it was kind of amusing, telling a haunting tale about how somebody on the last trip, fell in the swamp and then sued him. So now he can't do nighttime tours. So that was kind of a good moment. But you never see him again. He never comes back. He never does anything else. Poor Tony Todd.
And very aggressive gators, I have to say.
Yes.
They come flying at you in every direction. It's a gator nader.
And no question. Well, and what are they doing? Robert Englund and his son are out there hunting gators? Is that what they're doing?
So.
Is that what people do in the swamps of Louisiana? It's possible. I don't know.
That's good eating.
Is that what it is? They're one of the swamp people?
They're swamp people. Correct.
Okay.
I thought most gators farm now, though, but maybe not.
Who's to say?
Maybe they're just poor white trash.
Right. Could be. But you're up to something because you know that there's some killer on the loose, right? You going into this, did you know there was a killer on the loose or did you have no idea what anything about it was?
I didn't know what it was. I assumed there was somebody with a hatchet.
That's probably a safe assumption. But right out of the gate, when the son is being killed, you see somebody come down and like reach into his back and just start pulling guts out.
Yes.
So
this is very, very graphic.
It was graphic, but in kind of a goofy way.
Right.
Like somebody would get hit with the hatchet and then they'd cut to like just blood splashing onto a tree or something. Like whenever there's blood, there's an explosion of blood.
Right. Somebody got torn in half. There's lots of entrails, but not vomity.
No.
Little graphic, not vomity, mostly comedy.
That's what I think.
It's a vomity. How about that?
It's a vomity. You have now coined a new phrase, and I think that's exactly what this is.
Very
a vomity, no question. Let's just jump right in.
How about this? Here's an interesting. Work this phrase into your life. I'd rather skin my own dick. Is that a thing guys say? Because I gotta say, I've never heard that.
I hear a lot of skibbity toilet in my classroom, but other than that, I have not heard skin my own. Yes. Now, there was a funny moment where they're talking about how you don't date a woman who's obviously scratching their crotch. And I think that's good advice.
It is good advice. And frankly, another thing that occurred to me early on, because of course, Shaggy's in this.
Yes.
I was literally waiting for this to be a Scooby-Doo mystery.
Right.
The mystery of the swamp cabin. And that would have been a better movie.
Oh, no question. No question. Well, so the one, it's Shaggy. We're going to call him Shaggy for the rest of the...
For now on.
I'd actually seen him in other stuff. He was in Dodgeball. Did you ever see that movie? He's been in a few things.
But I don't remember.
And he and his buddy they're in New Orleans for Mardi Gras. He's not having a good time because his girlfriend just dumped him. So he wants to go on a haunted swamp tour, as one does. And that's when they start regaling about how don't date a woman who's scratching her crotch because it could be crabs, even if she says it's a reaction to fabric softener.
That's a long discussion. Hey, how did that come about? He would have had to say, hey, lady, why you keep digging at that? And she's like, my labia is very sensitive to fabric softener and bubble bath.
I guess.
Is that the conversation that took place at the bar at 1:55?
Was it Snuggle? Is that the accursed fabric softener? Who's to say? But you're absolutely right. Yeah. Why do you keep itching at yourself?
Get your
Toots.
hands out of your pants.
No question. Well, but there's a callback later when a guy, when they're on the swamp boat, woman is obviously itching herself, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna put my arm around you." So good.
I mean, it's got to be I mean, women are different than men. Men apparently find a reason to scratch themselves publicly
100%.
all the time.
We don't even need an itch.
Don't even need. They're just checking to make sure everything's still in place.
100%.
But for a woman to scratch, it's an uncontrollable urge.
It's a cry for help.
It's a cry for help.
No question.
Time to get the fine comb.
At least 100%. The fine comb. So, oh God help us. While they're there waiting to go on the swamp tour, there is a guy who's filming women taking their tops off. I mean, I know this is New Orleans, so there's a whole montage during the credits of just women taking their tops off.
Gratuitous. Let's throw our boobs out.
Yes.
And the dude who's doing it was been in 1,000 things.
Yes. Do you know what his name is?
Nope.
Joel Murray. Do you know who he is?
Is he related to Bill Murray?
He's the younger brother of Bill Murray and Brian Doyle Murray. Yeah.
The two of them had a baby?
They had it. I said a younger brother. Yes, they had it. They both had a baby together. It was a thing.
I'm sorry. Who's whistling right now?
Because the dog is barking, and I'm trying to ignore it, but my wife does not want dogs barking up the neighborhood. So she's whistling to get him to stop barking. That's a thing. Okay. It is a thing. It's a thing around this house.
Is there a effing parrot behind you also?
Could be.
Now? Okay.
Could be. I'm not taking off table.
I wasn't sure if it was the hobos behind my house who I had to call the police on again because they're threatening to kill each other again.
What a great neighborhood you live in.
As one does on a Sunday. Next time I just say, "Hey, it's Aaron." They're doing it again.
They know you.
That's right. Hello, 911. Hi, it's Aaron.
They're like, "Oh, we'll send somebody right over." So I guess he's trying to film some porno movie on the swamp because he keeps calling. He says, "Are you familiar with bio beavers?"
Yeah, it looked like a Girls Gone Wild kind of thing,
right?
But that he would like to definitely transition to something else.
100%. Well, they later find his wallet after he's been killed by the Hatchet killer to discover that he is not really a producer of any kind. He's just some dude.
They flew themselves down on their own dime. That might have been a tip or two.
What? He's in New Orleans during Mardi Gras, and yet he's flying chicks in from LA and New York to do Girls Gone Wild. That's not good move. You know what I'm saying?
They were trying to be so funny. This is clearly like some kind of East Coast vibe because it was all these NYU jokes and.
I didn't really go to NYU. I went to Hofstra.
Yeah. Like anyone on this end of the country knows anything about that. I only know about it from watching Law and Order 1,000 times.
That'll do it. So you're right there in the thick of it.
I'm right there in the thick of it. I'm so learned.
And then what was up? The dude who was giving the tour was doing some kind of a crazy voodoo accent.
I thought he was doing a weird. First, he was trying to do like a
New Orleans
accent. Then he was trying to do some weird racist Chinese accent.
Correct.
And then he dropped that for some kind of an East Coast accent.
Yes. Right. He said he just flew in from Detroit like last week, and this is only the second tour he's been on, which is why he's like got cue cards to remind himself of what's what. But right, it seemed to serve no purpose.
Doesn't know how to drive the boat. So they just needed someone to crash the boat.
Yes.
And strand them on an island. This is why they were trying to be funny, and it was not funny. It was just a little awkward.
That wasn't the funniest. I'm not going to lie to you. But you're right. They're getting on the boat, and there's somebody in a canoe shouting at them, "The swamp is off limits. The swamp is illegal."
But he's clearly a fisherman in the swamp.
Right. No explanation.
One thing if he was like a sheriff or something, what are you doing out there, dude?
Right. Is he the Coast Guard? Who is he?
He's the Coast Guard. Yes,
100%.
that didn't make any goddamn sense. So on the tour is the fake producer, the two girls gone wild.
Yes.
We've got Shaggy and his buddy Scrappy Doo, and and then we've got
old married
Ali
couple.
Sheedy from the Breakfast Club.
Yes, absolutely.
Who is just shady. Her name is Janie, and they kept playing Janie's Got a Gun.
I didn't play it, but I think they said it.
It was implied.
Yes.
It turns out that she is Freddy Krueger's daughter. She's on this because she can't possibly find a boat or get a sheriff to make a report on her missing father and brother. So she's taking a haunted swamp tour to investigate. And part of that, you got to be locked and loaded.
Right. Yeah, that's
on the tourist boat.
That's the part that makes the most sense. Yes, my family's gone missing, so why don't I take this old haunted swamp tour to do the investigating? 100%. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the boat crashes on its own, seemingly for no reason, and now is sinking. And there's crocodiles in the water. So
Yes.
right, now they're stranded in the swamp. But of course, they're stranded on the front doorstep of Victor Crowley, the legendary axe murderer of the swamp.
It literally looked like Pirates of the Caribbean, like when you first get on the ride at Disneyland.
Yo ho, yo ho. No question.
This is the highest quality sets and work. This is interesting. Definitely not shooting this baby on location anywhere.
So, I mean, up to this point, we got the sense that it's meant to be kind of comedic. But when Victor, and let me just say this, here's the whole crazy backstory. He was raised in the swamp, much like the crawfish woman in Where the Crawfish Sing.
Oh God, that's such a terrible movie.
But he was born a hideous freak. But evidently,
made worse when your father hit you in the head with an axe accidentally.
Correct. But
you get set on fire multiple times.
You got the sense that this was like a harmless freak. This is like Boo Radley or somebody up to this point, right?
If Boo Radley was John Merrick, I agree.
100%. Or Eric Stoltz in Mask, to be more topical.
Just cruising around, eating crawdaddies, sucking on the swamp gas.
100%. Because he's being bullied in school and he can't really defend himself. It's very sad.
He can't defend himself. He's pulling people in half.
Well, that's later in life, or in his afterlife, I guess.
What is this, like Charles Atlas? I was a 98-pound weakling with an axe head.
Yes.
Now I'm 7 feet tall, 350 with an axe head.
Yes. Well, because they established
a Stegosaurus back. He had like a Stegosaurus lumpkin. Like, it seems to me you would have a lot of back problems and would probably need to see a swamp chiropractor.
Are there a lot of swamp chiropractors out there? Do they do house calls? But somehow he's bullied in school to the point where one Halloween, some neighborhood kids are throwing firecrackers. Again, this is 400 miles in the swamp. Who are the neighborhood kids?
Yeah.
How are they getting to his house to throw firecrackers at it?
But they stole a canoe, rode for 45 minutes.
Yes.
And knew right where his house was.
Absolutely. So they throw firecrackers that accidentally cause a fire. So he's trapped, even though clearly at this point he's 7 foot 350 of galvanized steel. 100%. So his father comes back, who is not an abusive father. He's a nice father who loves his little freak son. And he's trying to get his grown freak son now at this point. And he's trying to get in to the burning shack and picks up the it's not a hatchet. A hatchet is a little axe that you use.
Straight up axe. He's trying to break down the door.
It's a fire axe, essentially. Tries to break through the door, and I guess Victor Crowley was pressing his head up against the door right when his dad comes through with the axe and catches him right between the eyes with the axe. which kills Victor Crowley, or so we're to believe, and the father eventually drinks himself to death 10 years later in sadness and despair. Okay?
Yeah.
Then what? Then the ghost, I guess we're supposed to say the ghost of Victor Crowley comes back and haunts the swamp, and you can, if you paddle by, you can hear him crying for his dead father, is the legend.
Why didn't he, when did the ghost appear? After Dad died?
I guess.
I see. This is why I thought it was going to be a Scooby-Doo moment when it was really the dad. Like it was a Jason thing. Because quite frankly, he looked a little Jason-y. A little bloated and from being at Camp Crystal Lake a little too long.
Right. No, it's definitely like, so he survived or he died. Because he doesn't seem ghostly. He seems like a corporeal entity of some sort. Grabbing
they
people.
They do fall down, but like, Michael Myers, you knock him down. What if you just keep knocking him down?
Just keep knocking him down. Throw him to the crocodiles. Do something.
How come nobody ever ties these sons of bitches up?
Who's to say?
All these things is a lot of, I'm going to chop you in the head, I'm going to shoot you, and then I'm going to drop the weapon, turn my back, and slowly walk away.
Correct. Well, there's definitely a lot of, oh my God, the killer's about to kill that person, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stand here while they slowly kill that
Janie's
person.
got a gun, and she watches two of the old people get torn apart, including the wife, who they just reach into her mouth and somehow pull the top of her head off that way.
Correct. Just jaw to jaw, crack. That's the end of her. And then
after he's killed them, then she takes a couple wild shots into the air and runs off, throwing the gun down.
Well, in her defense, she, her father just went missing last week or 2 days ago. Who knows? It hasn't been months or years. She hasn't had time to go to the shooting range as far as we know.
Don't know. She's a swamp person. We just assume all these people from the South are familiar with firearms.
That's what I assume. So who's to say? Whatever the case may be. So the old
They're outdoorsy people.
Right. It's a nice thing to be outdoor. I don't know about outdoorsy in the swamp, but
you got to make do with what you got.
You got to make do. No question. So they are trying to walk. I guess the highway is on the other side of Victor Crowley's house. Is that what we're supposed to think?
Well, Dad would drive to town. So
Yes.
So why didn't they follow that road to get out? That's a mystery.
Well, there's a lot of mysteries in this. But he kills them pretty much. So he comes out the door, grabs the old man who had been bitten by a crocodile earlier, and just sits there and chops, while 6 other people just sit and scream and watch the chopping. The wife just stands there, literally does not take 2 steps away from the chopping.
Yeah.
And then it's a lot of, we're running around in the swamp. Victor Crowley pops up, grabs somebody. It's upsetting. The one chick takes a belt sander just to her lower mouth. Another guy gets his leg knocked off with a shovel. That was a good move. And then he just falls over.
It's like the human body is made out of Play-Doh in these movies.
Yeah, or paper mache. No question. No question. What do you got? Any notes? Did you take any notes watching this?
I've already covered all my notes except for the part of mouth barf. There was plenty of people barfing in other people's mouths.
There was
really an homage again to Sam Raimi.
No question.
Whenever I see somebody vomiting into someone else's mouth, all I think of is Sam Raimi.
There was a moment that seemingly came out of nowhere. Shaggy was knocked on the ground. So he's laying down, and Victor Crowley is on top of him. And literally, like mucus or something literally goes out of his mouth into Scooby's mouth, or Shaggy, whoever the dude is, right into his mouth. You got the sense that, was the actor ready for this? I'm not sure he was. Did they tell him this was coming?
Surprise! It was a little surprise. It's that movie magic.
It's that movie magic. It was Drag Me to Hell. It was that kind of disgusting where you're like, what is happening?
Drag me to hell, but I'm like, oh, Sam Raimi. I was going to prepare myself for the mouth vomit.
That was upsetting.
They start whittling down the swamp people one after another. most of it's all pretty straightforward. Really, the best kill is the old woman where they literally just pry her jaw apart and the rest of the head goes with it. Which again, I'm not sure that's physically possible.
It's not sure how it works.
And then my question is, because then he goes and throws all the bodies into his house / tool shed that he lives in.
Correct.
Is he a cannibal? What is this? Is this a Jeffrey Dahmer where I gotta put all the heads in an ice box? What's going on here?
No explanation. If you're looking for an explanation, I have none to give you. So there you go. But that's how we know for a fact. That's how what's her name knows for a fact that Victor Crowley did in fact kill her father and her brother, because their corpses and their guts are all flopped out.
They're all flippity floppity. So this is the swamp. Always reminds me either Atreyu and the horse. Is this where
Artax.
the horse gets? Artax gets mired in this swamp.
The swamp of sadness. 100%.
This is the swamp of sadness. Right next door is Nell, and you couldn't get any more depressing than this. And then the Swamp Thing and Louis Jardin are in the next block.
First of all, I feel bad for Nell being lumped in with the Swamp Thing and Victor Crowley. She did nothing wrong. Her mom was hard of hearing, and she learned to speak in a weird way. No offense. So,
well, let's throw in the Crawdad Singh lady too. Wasn't she her friend? And then they could have gone on a killing spree together. I'm not you should be thanking me right now for not doing my impression of Nell. I'm being sensitive.
that would be wildly insensitive if you did your impression of Nell. Yes.
What if I did an impression of Nell as Hatchet or Hatchet? Hatchet? T-T-E?
Yeah. From the French. No question.
Well, I mean, it's New Orleans.
Right.
Les bon temps roulé.
This is a red stick? What does that mean?
Let the good times roll.
Roulé?
Roulé.
Roulé. Okay.
It's not Spanish. Is that what you're...
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Do you not follow Mardi Gras? That's what they say at Mardi Gras.
Do I follow it? I'm aware it exists. I don't go from place to place all year round trying to celebrate it. Is that what you're asking?
Tuesday, all I do is play Mardi Gras music.
What would be just jazz? Dixieland or what?
Soundtrack from the Big Easy.
Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Let's get back to this debacle. So it seems like from time to time they have a plan. The plan goes awry, and then it's back to we're just running around the swamp, scampering.
It keeps circling back. It's like one of these horror movies where all roads lead you back. It's like The Others. You go through the mist, and then you're right back where you started.
Right, because they're like, we're going to light him on fire, which they do, and he falls down, but then immediately it starts raining for about 10 seconds.
See, that's God interfering. So.
100%. You're not meant to live through this.
No.
Like, forget about it.
Mm-hmm. Even the weather's against you.
Oh, no question. Well, and then they get all the way to the above ground cemetery, but then it's like they can get in, but they can't escape out of it. It was very bizarre. Who can explain this?
So are you supposed to boat up to this place? Is that how you're supposed to get to it? Because the fence seemed to be in a weird location.
Well, I thought they saw it when they were driving the van to get to the boat.
How about climb over that goddamn fence?
Absolutely, or go around the fence.
Follow the fence around.
Follow the fence line, 100%. 100%.
Well, I love old Hatchet just pulls one of the posts out. So he is what, the Incredible Hulk now?
Yes, he is. 100%.
You're screwed.
You're screwed.
Just lay down and promise to be, his swamp wife or something.
His crawdad woman.
You be my crawdaddy.
100%. 100%. But I like his friend got grabbed, and of course, like we said, they just leave him to get killed.
After saving the girl and him, the friend gets grabbed, and they're just like, peace, now we can't do anything about that. Let's go the other direction.
And it's funny because when he gets grabbed, he's like, oh, shit. Because the guy's like...
He already knew.
He already knew. He already knew. Got his arms ripped off. That was the end of him.
Yeah. That seemed a little problematic.
Seemed a little 100%. There was a scene, I don't think you've ever seen it, in the remake of Friday the 13th, where it's the same kind of thing. The one African-American character. Like,
yes, it's like, as soon as you see there's only one African-American character, you know they ain't making it to the end.
In the remake of Friday the 13th, Jason throws a fire axe, ironically, and it hits the dude in the back, and it's like, ah, and screaming, help me, guys, help me. And they're up in the house, and they do not help him. As Jason literally takes a 100-yard walk slowly to finally get him and just kill him.
Has a cigarette halfway.
No question.
This time.
Those bastards. Anywho, very problematic, to say the least. But the most problematic thing about this movie is they get in the boat, which is reminiscent of Friday the 13th, right? They were even playing kind of the happy music.
Yeah.
But you knew, any veteran horror movie person knows this is not the end of the movie.
Right. It's a pure Jason grab.
Pure Jason grab. Now, she just falls overboard. I thought she was grabbed, but it seemed like she just fell and gets her foot tangled in some seaweed or something. This is
nonsense.
It makes no GD sense. So then she sees the hand, the guy's hand, and she goes up and reaches for it, pulls her up, and of course, Victor Crowley is in the boat now. There's the dude laying there with his arm ripped off, and he just grabs her. Screen goes black. And I'm like, what the... It's like the final episode of The Sopranos. What are you telling? You can't just pull the plug on the camera.
I've already figured it out. Their daughter is in fact Nell.
She
becomes a swamp wife. They have a baby.
Yes.
Named Nell.
Named Nell.
And Nell knows where the crawdads sing.
If she knows nothing else, she knows where the crawdads sing. No question. Yes. No question.
Whatever the hell that means.
It don't mean nothing. So I guess we're supposed, like, everybody else has been wiped out. Dude's got his arm ripped off, so you know he's not going to be around much longer. And that's when I'm like, oh, so I have to immediately start watching the next Hatchet movie. Which
was that the first thought that came to your mind?
I have to watch the next one. I'm in.
My first thought was, thank God, it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is that the sequel, this is 2006, the sequel didn't come out till like 2010. So 4 years later, you had to find out what happened.
4 years to get someone to write that check.
100%. Any other thoughts and feelings about Hatchet, or shall we go behind the scenes?
Oh, is there behind the scenes?
There is, shockingly enough.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's see. Writer and director Adam Green created a no CGI rule for post-production. Only CGI was used to remove on-screen wires and camera setups. So it was all practical effects.
When I saw the name, I kept thinking it was Seth Green.
It was not Seth Green. Wah, wah, wah. I said this earlier. If you watch the first 3 Hatchet movies in a row without opening and end credits, it would be one uninterrupted storyline revolving around a few days. Boom. So there you go.
They don't look older?
They probably do.
Wait, I thought you saw it.
No, I've only seen the first. I've seen this one, and I've seen the 4th one, which was made like...
What the hell? Why would you
10
watch
years
the
later.
4th one first?
Oh, because that was what was on Joe Bob. That was the one they showed.
Jesus Christ.
So, Jesus Christ, indeed. The horribly deformed young Victor Crowley was actually played by a beautiful young actress named Riley Vanderbilt.
One of the Vanderbilts?
Yes. I don't know, maybe. When makeup effects artist John Carl Beekler needed a model to test the latex prosthetic on, Riley was the volunteer. because the makeup effects had already been modeled to her face, she wound up playing the role of young mutant Victor Crowley in the flashbacks.
What if she was unavailable? That seems bizarre. Oh, but now coincidentally, I tested it on like a small woman's face. What are the odds it's going to fit a large man's face?
Yeah, 100%.
That's fucking nonsense.
This movie was the last production to shoot in Louisiana before Hurricane Katrina hit. Boom. There you go.
Also protecting Victor Crowley.
100%. When actor Joel David Moore vomits on screen, it is real. Makes sense.
That was not in the mouth, though.
Yep.
That was
yes. Thank goodness for that. In all three of the Hatchet films, someone says the line, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." So
that's what I kept saying. I think that's just a natural reaction.
Oh, 100%. 100%. To keep the set hidden, the movie was called Love Rodeo during production.
Do you think that would keep people away? You would think more freaks would be crawling out. Love Rodeo.
You'd think.
That sounds like a bad porn.
Or a good one.
I don't know.
Boom! Let's see. Danielle Harris, who we know from Halloween 4 and 5, playing the young, I don't remember her character's name, the main girl from Halloween 4 and 5. She auditioned for the role of Mary Beth Dunstan in this film. That's Ali Sheedy, the disgruntled, angry girl, swamp woman looking for her missing father. She wanted this role. And she was a name and a face that people were familiar with, but the director didn't want to be accused of doing stunt casting by putting an iconic horror actress in the lead. So he chose a different actress.
Did you just call her a horror actress?
Iconic horror actress. I'm not judging her personal life.
You had Robert England
and Tony Todd.
And Tony Todd.
Yes.
But it would be weird if we had a woman who might be recognizable.
100%. But ironically, when they did the sequels, the original actress, Amara Saragosa, was not interested in being in the sequels. So they brought in Danielle Harris to play the same role, and she's played the same role in all the other movies. Boom. So, good times. The ringtone on Misty's cell phone is I Don't Want to Wait by Paula Cole.
Yes. I don't want to wait for... I'm like, that definitely dated this.
It was very, very popular at the time. Let's talk about the cast and crew, shall we? Adam Green was the director and the writer. You know him from such things as Frozen. No, not that one. No. Director of Hatchet. He wrote for the Friday the 13th, the video game. And something called Holliston. 15 episodes as a director from 2012 2018. I'm unfamiliar with it.
Unfamiliar.
Cast. Kane Hodder played Victor Crowley. Do you know who Kane Hodder is?
I don't know.
He actually also played the role of the father as well. So he had a dual role in this. You know him. Interesting, the things that are popping up. He did stunts for the movie Seven.
Okay.
He was the undercover cop in Monster, that movie, the Charlize Theron one.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
He was in Daredevil, the movie in 2003.
I didn't see that.
The fourth credit they give is Victor Crowley and Mr. Crowley in the 2006 movie Hatchet. I find it fascinating that IMDb does not mention he played Jason Voorhees in 4 Friday the 13th movies. Boom.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. He was in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. He was in Jason Goes to Hell, and he was in Jason X.
Good for him. Go.
He did it more than anybody else. So there you have it. Joel David Moore played Ben, or Shaggy as we've been calling him all evening. He played Norm Spellman in Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water.
I think I saw the first Avatar, and that was enough for me.
He was in Dodgeball, a true underdog story, playing Owen.
I did see
And
that.
he was in Youth in Oregon. He directed the Youth in Oregon, which I'm unfamiliar with.
Unfamiliar. Is that some kind of Scientology recruitment or what is that?
Could be. I can't take it off the table. Let's see. Dion Richmond played Marcus. I actually recognized him. He was the buddy.
I looked him up too because he looked familiar.
He was in 32 episodes of The Cosby Show playing Kenny. I didn't remember that. Oh my God. Do you remember Kenny?
No.
He was Rudy's like friend who was kind of
he
like
was like
cantankerous.
a baby.
Right. He was in Not Another Teen Movie as Malik, which I actually remember. I thought that was funny.
Never saw that.
He was in Scream 3 as Tyson Fox in 2000.
I saw that because you made me.
And I didn't. You have agency. You can say no. And he was also in 2006 Hatchet as Marcus. I can't believe he was Kenny in The Cosby Show. I remember that. Good grief. Amara Saragosa played Mary Beth Dunstan, although credited as Tamara Feldman. So she changed her name.
Just for this role?
No, it seems like it. She was in 6 episodes of Gossip Girl.
Oh, well, that's real.
She was in 6 episodes of Dirty Sexy Money.
Okay.
13 episodes of Strange Angel.
Never heard of that.
And she was in the original Hatchet in 2006.
Okay.
There you go. Anybody else you're dying to know? Joel Murray.
I looked up the blonde girl who flashed her tits, and it was just blank.
Mercedes McNabb played Misty. You know her from... She was Amanda Buckman in Addams Family Values. She was in the Addams Family movie She played a Girl Scout in the Addams Family movie in 1991. I know exactly who she is.
Which one?
She was the little kind of precocious blonde girl that was the foil.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Oh my God, totally.
It's an all-star cast. And she was Misty in Hatchet in 2006 and Misty in Hatchet 2 in 2010. Boom.
How could she be in the next one when she's dead?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Let's see. Joel Murray played Doug Shapiro. You know him from such things as God Bless America in 2011.
Is that a thing?
He was in 15 episodes of Mad Men playing Fred Rumson.
Ooh.
He was in...
Oh, yeah. I know
That's the girl.
exactly. You're talking about the dude who was the fake porn producer.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's Joel Murray. That's the younger brother.
Yeah.
He was in 119 episodes of Dharma and Greg from 97. It was a big hit.
Yeah.
And he was Policeman Fire in The Artist, Academy Award-winning movie in 2011. So there you go.
Don't know.
Let's see. Anybody else we want to talk about? I mean, Robert Englund played Samson. I'm not sure his name is ever revealed.
No.
You know him from Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy
Dead
vs.
Daddy.
Jason. Yeah. He was
in V, TV series.
Absolutely. Loved V back in the day. Tony Todd played Reverend Zombie, the voodoo.
Reverend Zombie. He got a little voodoo makeup for no apparent reason.
A little something, something. You know him from such things as Candyman. He was in The Rock, The Man from Earth in 2007, and he was in The Crow in 1994. He was
in The Rock?
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen The Crow.
Never seen The Crow? We should do it sometime on the show.
All right. Right after we do The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Absolutely.
And Theater of Blood.
Let's look at the ratings, shall we?
Let's do it.
Hatchet, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, 57%. Do you know what the audience gave it?
48.
45. Oh, the top critics. Let's take a look. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian says, a reasonably serviceable horror with much gory dismemberment and featuring a kind of ancestor worship in the casting of scary movie veterans Robert Englund and Tony Todd. 2 out of 5. So not a ringing endorsement, I'm sad to say.
It's way too positive if you ask me.
Yep. Let's see. Scott Schuler of the Chicago Tribune says, high expectations and any discerning taste should be thrown out the window for a film of Hatchet's budget. That accomplished, audiences will find a gem of an intentionally bad movie. 3 out of 4. What do you think of that?
I don't think it was intentionally bad. I think they thought they were making a comedy, and instead they just made a bad film.
Oh, very upsetting. What is your rating? Lay it on me. Take your time.
I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 yawns because it is boring and it sucks.
No, it's not as bad as all that.
It is boring. I need never watch it again.
I'm going to give it, let's say, 2.75 crotch scratches. And maybe it's from fabric softener. Who's to say? Who's to say? It's fairly inoffensive. You know what I mean? It's like the kind of practical blood effects are just kind of humorously done.
It's low budget nonsense.
It's not as bad as all that. But I have to say, it is kind of ridiculous. The whole, just kind of ending the movie. Like there's no resolution. Like
that's how they hook you for the next one, Kevin.
And
4 years later.
4 years later. 100%. 100%. If you happen to stumble upon it, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If you're flipping channels, you see it. It has a few moments.
Your life is so empty that you need to fill it constantly and you've run out of everything else to watch.
You need to have a podcast to do it for 100%. 100%. So I would say it's fine. It's by no means good. But Aaron thinks it's a damn dumpster fire, and I will disagree on that. It's not a dumpster fire.
Let me be clear. It's better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Let's be clear
something.
about that.
That's something.
That's something. It did not make me cringe
projectile
or almost,
vomit.
Gratuitous boobies everywhere.
Yes.
No one got raped or...
That's true.
No fake rape. So, I mean, it got extra credit for that.
Well, that's not... You kind of lose the comedy with rape, I would argue.
One would think.
One would think. Now, one would think gratuitous murder, you'd lose the comedy as well. But
No.
Who's to say?
No.
Who's to say? Any last thoughts on Hatchet?
No.
Okay, fair enough. So, thank you very much. We are all over the internet. We're on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok, Instagram. You may be watching us on YouTube, for goodness sake. And thank you for that. Who's to say? You can also email us at the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
I am on Artsy and First Dibs, Aaron Doherty. I am on the Instagram, The Cult of Aaron. I'm on Threads and Twitter, whatever.
Very good. As you know, we like to include comments and questions, thoughts and feelings of our friends and family and fans across the internet. So, Aaron, what you got? What are the comments?
Mr. Trim on X pointed out that once again, Aaron is correct that It's Alive 2 is a superior movie to It's Alive.
Interesting. Not called It's Alive 2, by the way. But
It's Alive 3D, or they're all 4 of them are alive, or don't have babies, they'll rip your throats out.
No, that's not the. It lives again. I was going to call it It's Still Alive. I kept calling it It's Still Alive because that makes more sense than It Lives Again.
I threw it in the pool and it's still alive.
It still lives. Anywho,
It still lives because now there's like a whole posse that the government is trying to reproduce. It was very ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But in a good way.
Now, next week, we're going to be recording the immortal classic, Maximum Overdrive, starring Emilio Estevez and others.
Is this about a possessed truck or something?
Based upon the Stephen King short story Cars from the Skeleton Crew.
Like the Disney?
100% like the Disney.
Mater?
Yeah, Lightning McQueen. No question.
Lightning McQueen and Mater go on a killing spree.
No question. Now, we're also going to be on our buddy Antonio's podcast, the Cult-Worthy Cinema Podcast. So, talking about the same movie. So, as we always like to do, if we go on a podcast and talk about a certain subject, we're also going to come and talk about it in our own bizarre, freakish manner.
The best is if we record theirs first so we can steal all their ideas and then insert it into our show.
That's what we like to do. So, if you'd like to watch Maximum Overdrive, you can watch it on Prime Video with a subscription. It's on
commercials now.
That's an option. You can watch it with ads. Actually, I don't think it is an option unless you pay for the higher tier. You're getting the GD ads.
You mean the $180 a year I'm paying is not the highest tier?
Not good enough. Not good enough, damn it. Or you can watch it on Pluto TV with ads. So there you go.
Boom.
So send in any favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions about Maximum Overdrive, and maybe, just maybe, we'll talk about it on the show. So thank you very much, and be well.
My last thing is, I'm sure I mentioned this last time.
Please.
They're tearing down the set that they filmed Halloween 3. The old exterior of the Silver Shamrock factory is being teared down in Lolita, California. You need to drive to Humboldt County before it's too late, or you will miss your chance to get your picture took in front of the Silver Shamrock factory.
I mean, that's something to protest. They should not be tearing down this national treasure.
That's a historical site right across the street from the Lolita Cheese Factory. God damn it.
What a shame. It's a travesty.
America.
Damn it all to hell.